Hey, movie mystics. Hey, my darlings. It's the big moment. It's the moment I've been waiting for some time now. I'm going to review 7 films that I saw through screeners, but that have premiered already at the Berlinale. So 7 films is quite a lot. I'm going to get right to it. The message to me isn't a Rosemary's Baby ambiguous proposition between a supernatural reality and mental illness. It is a tale of fraud, but perhaps I am wrong as well, given its cool black and white look. It seems to be a very lighthearted and cinematic look at a real tale of fooling people. This child is a clairvoyant and can communicate with people's pets, for a price, of course. The look of the movie, the Argentine setting, and the Spanish language heighten things, but it is still an earthbound story for me. While I might have mystical energy, I am an earthbound guy. I don't think kids or adults can talk to animals, and this is a wild scam story. 2 adults take a kid on the road to fleece people for cash. That is a tale, and it is pretty fun stuff. It's fun to tell a story about people who scam others, because those people are pretty wild and uneven sort of people, making them great people to focus a movie on. Their extreme lifestyle is a lovely thing to view from afar. It's nice to see these people without knowing them. It's cool to see a downbeat sort of pleasant scam affair from a film from Argentina programmed at the Berlinale. Let's hope it hits the cinemas here in Canada. Yeah, I liked it. It had like a soft, like nice look, soft look to make those edges, those rough edges, a little bit more digestible for a mainstream audience. You could do all kinds of things with characters of con, but no, I like this one fine. It gets the 4 stars, and this one okay. Home Sweet Home is this Danish movie that deals with work in an old folks' home. It reminds me of this Hot Docs documentary on the topic that I believe was also from Denmark or perhaps Belgium. Whatever. Regardless, the same thoughts for that documentary are largely applicable to this narrative film. Interestingly enough. It provides an insightful sociological view on the workplace that lacks stakes. It is perhaps not the best topic for a film, but that is either a narrative or a documentary, but it is not without worth either. Maybe you're pushing that age or have a family member in a home. Maybe you need to relate to it, but it just looks like a pretty uncomfortable job with people who are near the end of the line. Maybe I feel it's hard to invest in their tale when so little time is left. Maybe I'm just a jerk, though, and this is a great subgenre. I just find it too low-key to be of profound interest. It is interesting, just not that interesting from the point of view of my nearly middle-aged heart. The actors have some good scenes yelling at each other, and some of the old people look generally uncomfortable, which adds to the ambience and stakes of the story, but it's just not a 5 out of 5 experience for me. And I'm just realizing now with that Hot Docs documentary that I mentioned about the elder home in Europe, where Denmark, nonetheless, I don't remember. I interviewed one of the people who worked there, as well as the director of that documentary. So if you go to my Hot Docs playlist, you can find it. I don't have too many Hot Docs interviews. All right. The Good Sister is a tough movie from Germany that looks at what happens to a family unit when someone is accused of something. Even if people stand by you when you've been wronged, there is a cost. We see it all here in strained relations. People could say one thing, the tone in which they respond, though, and their body language can indicate something entirely different. This movie shows the disassociation words can have between our sense of self and what one knows is right or wrong in this world. The limitations of practicality are what's happening here. The movie is subtle. We get later performances with a nuanced script, so the whole experience becomes a realistic sort of head trip, a cerebral affair of an extreme but frequent kind of happening. You may never see The Good Sister, but the movie is indicative of a lot of German movies, of what German movies aspire to be or ought to be like. It's like an emotional mind trip. Not bad at all for a directorial debut as well. Hopefully Sarah Miro Fisher gives us plenty of more films in this decade and the next one, so we can relish in some more complex, subtle, and deep films. Okay. We Believe You. We Believe You is a courtroom drama from Belgium, spoken in French, that is just under 80 minutes and will tide you over for a bit if you crave some solid contemporary European dramatic cinematic content. The film is a little drawn out in my opinion. I wish there were more flashbacks and we could get away from the same setting. Maybe this was a budget constraint and there just wasn't the time or money for this not to be the case. However, there is a certain unreliability of what is being said here. Some things said in court might be lies and some are, but your mind wanders a bit because it is not spelled out for you with flashbacks. Custody battles are emotionally difficult as well. While this is a quick movie, it's far from breezy. Virtually every scene has ratcheted up in emotional intensity due to the nature of the tale. Everything is real from the mother's perspective, and it might have been nice to have a bit more of the point of view of the husbands as well as the kids here. We hear about them, but they don't talk enough, in my view. Anyway, it's a good movie, a rough ride, and pretty much sincerely told. The setting is limited, but nice to look at, and it might have enticed me to be a bit more to think about attending the Rotterdam Film Festival. All right, okay. We're in the home stretch. All right. The film How to Be Normal in the Oddness of the Other World is both scary and entertaining and probably heightened in both ways because it is set in Austria. There's a cold menace, but also an interesting cultural translation that we get here. Some scenes are directly reminiscent of films like The Joker and The Matrix. To see how an Austrian would present that seems like less of a ripoff and more of a cultural filter. They are without a doubt riffing on these films and others indirectly, and it has largely to do with the fact this film deals with modern day psychosis. What's happening here in North America is also happening in Austria. We don't see that angle or think about that much here in North America, most likely. So to see this sort of film, which I'd probably only seen through my relationship with the Berlinale, is very cool. This is a hard hitter. Hopefully it comes to the Bytown Cinema. While it is a hard hitter and the German language sounds extremely cold-blooded, it is also an entertaining film in terms of how we deal with disassociation. To take on all the pain of this lady would be too much for a film, but to show us the delusional daydreams and paranoid fantasies, make it more fun and relatable, although in a warped sense. Hysteria is a fascinating film from Germany, which is the perfect place, most likely, to set this film on rough immigration relations. It is all about a provocative film crew who plan on burning a Quran. Cannibal Holocaust was supposed to be a brutal Mondokane type experience that was a takedown critique of racism in the media, while it far surpasses anything the news media has done, making it a difficult text to deal with. Hysteria has a fictional filmmaker look at the hype surrounding the burning of a Quran as a wider metaphor for his vision of a divided Europe who is having a hard time accepting their newcomers. The issue becomes less whether he is allowed to do it, but why should you do it? And is it actually a performative thing to serve his ego rather than a brave artistic statement? Given Germany's criminally racist past, it's the perfect place for this movie to come from. We follow one of the actresses and others in the cast deal with the people in their own lives, having to deal with hearing from the director, and then balancing the real-life implications of being part of a perhaps racist project. The director, while important to the story, is much more of a side character, and as far as people in rooms talking movies go, that'll make for a great experience for you most likely, if you're ready for its severity. The last sequence of the film is truly remarkable and very satisfying. It relates to the duality of its message of freedom of speech and the coarse view of Muslims that liberal Europe believes are unacceptable. It all ties beautifully to German history as well. This movie is from someone you can trust. Director Zacharias Konuk has been banging out these mystical Inuit movies for decades, and he delivers a reliable product. He's like the David Cronenberg for our indigenous community here in Canada. He has a goated status. When you see his name on a movie, you can bet money that it's going to be a revelatory experience. The mysticism is the texture between the frames. We get a particular school of magic specific to the community he comes from, but singled also in the way in which he delivers. TIFF is a massive thing for my content, and they consider him to be one of our best filmmakers. Oh my god, I got through it. So the final movie, the movie that gets the 5 out of the 5, is Ron Husband. So you can see there, I saved the 4.5s and the 5s till the end. And it's not really a ranking thing. I just wanted to save the best for last because we have a 3.5, a 4, a 3.5, and we started with a 4. So, those are all like good movies, and then we got like exceptionally good at the end. And so I'm not going to do a ranking video of the Berlinale 2025 simply because I just reviewed 7 out of 9, and then the other day on Monday, rather, I reviewed this film, Bunku, and then I have Circus Boy coming tomorrow. So total of 9 reviews. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this stream. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work to put together. And it all went by in a flash. Lots of fun. All right, take care, guys. Peace. See you tomorrow.